what's going on, y'all? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And you're about to watch a little OTB LSU.
We're going to give you all the latest, greatest between LSU football, baseball, women's basketball, softball, and everything in between.
Bottom line, if you want to talk Tigers, keep it locked, subscribe, like it, and we hope you enjoy it. All right, so in some other sports news, some football news, John Jancek officially out of the LSU coaching staff. Jancek originally brought on as an analyst, and then with the Philip Lindsay news, or Jimmy Lindsay.
Philip Lindsay, former Denver Broncos running back. Good player.
Right? Yeah, God, I do that all the time, dude. Then with the sad Jimmy Lindsay health news where he has to step away from the team, Jancek gets kind of thrust into that defensive line role. And so, look, when we're criticizing what that D-line was this year, I'm not even criticizing Jancek, right, or Lindsay. That's just a bad hand they got dealt to everyone all around. And to be fair, I don't think that Jancek was let go here because of like the defensive line performance. I think if I had to guess, maybe this is cost related. We'll see if they end up replacing him with anyone, or maybe this has to do with having a new defensive staff there and wanting new analysts to fill out that defensive staff. But either way, John Jancek out in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, T-Bob, it was one of those things where it's like he was brought in last year to kind of be that special teams guy. Then because of Jimmy Lindsay, you mentioned, he's moved to D-line. They bring in Bob Diaco. Diaco's like assistant D-line coach. He's coaching special teams, and they actually did pretty well under Bob Diaco, who's currently still on staff as we talk. Like, is he going to stay on? Is he going to be another coaching casualty? So it's like, because of Diaco's performance and the Jimmy Lindsay thing and bringing in a new D-line coach, Jancek was a good coach, but he was kind of a coach without a position.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was, but even then, but that is what I'm saying though. He was an analyst originally, right?
Yes.
Like he was already shadow staff originally, and then he got thrust into the on-field role. So you would think, oh, he'll just go back to being an analyst. But again, maybe this is cost cutting. He did have those reports that I need to dive more into because I'm not comfortable talking about them on air right now until I learn more what I think the truth of it is, right? But LSU spending the $204 million while making $200 million. Is that creative bookkeeping? Is there actual frivolous spending? I don't know, right? I'll have to dive into that. That's on me that I haven't done that yet. But yeah, maybe Jancek is cost, or maybe it is as simple as, no, you have a new defensive guy here who's going to want to bring in his analyst, right? A young cat that he believes, oh, this guy could be the next guy. Like, that's the path that you see more and more nowadays. That's what Mike McDonald was for years, just a few years ago, before now he's the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. So Jancek out. And what's interesting is after the season and when these hires were made, it was said that Jancek's role was, quote, unclear. And that is now what they're saying about Bob Diaco, that his role is unclear. And I don't want to make too much of that. It's just that we don't really know what's going on with Diaco. We do know that offensive analyst Terry Malone and John McDonnell have parted ways with the program also. So the turnover continues behind the scenes for this LSU staff. Tomorrow's National Signing Day. We'll get to Terry Bussey here in a little bit next segment, real quick. But what is, Taylor, is anything piquing your interest? I mean, for LSU, it really is just Terry Bussey. There's not much going on snaps, actually, today. Shameless plug here, guys. We're going to go live at noon, probably about 20, 30 minutes. And then we have a recorded interview with Dan Lanning that we did yesterday. And he was talking about this where it's so crazy where like now in the second sign day, they actually don't have much to do. Like most of the hay is in the barn. Is there like, what's Tiger Droppings talking about? Is it anything beyond Terry Bussey?
I mean, you know, mostly it's Terry Bussey. For me, when I always look at this signing day, you know, because of the early signing period, like LSU signed 27 guys in the early signing period. This is kind of like a fill spot, right?
Yeah.
Like you could get a Bussey or a big-time player like that, and then every now and then there's a couple surprises. You're like, oh, I didn't know that guy was on LSU's radar, or a guy that it's like, well, he didn't have a spot at the school he was committed for. We lost somebody that we didn't expect to lose. Let's bring him in. So it's a late add or a surprise. Like somebody like a D lineman or something. You lose a Mason Smith that you probably did not expect to lose. Maybe somebody was like, maybe there's a guy, committed to Georgia and they're like, oh, well, our starting defensive tackle came back. We expected him to leave. We don't have a spot for you. And then LSU's like, well, we lost Mason Smith. We didn't expect that. Guys like that, like filling holes, adding last-minute pieces, depth pieces, positions of need, stuff like that. So, while Terry Bussey's the big fish, I could see maybe 2 or 3 guys, nobody that's not on anybody's radar. And you're like, oh, I didn't know that guy was on LSU's radar.
Yeah, so I guess I hadn't even considered that because it does seem like, yes, the door, because I've heard, they're pushing the scholarship limit, if not already maybe going to have to make some tough cuts. But it does seem as if the door would only be open for, a true superstar a la a Bussey. And I'm saying this in recruiting terms, right? I'm not saying he's actually going to be awesome. We never know. Or like you're saying, interior defensive line. I don't think the door would be open at any other position group for somebody middling, or at least, you never know how the coaches view them. But yeah, because this is already a very full class. I don't know what the hell you're going to do about interior D-line.
Well, it could be one of those things. Bo Davis
is going to have to earn that 1.5.
Yeah, not just D-line, but it could be one of those things. As we talked about, it's it's a late ad. Something happened with the school he's committed to. It could be one of those things where it's this guy was really under-recruited. LSU's been watching him for a while, and they're like, hey, we feel good about him. He's under-recruited. Let's bring him in as the last piece of the signing class. You always hear that. Stuff like that happens every year.
So we'll be on the lookout for it tomorrow. We'll bring you all the action tomorrow during the day. And y'all continue to try to find where my username is on 3. Good luck. Wow, Jake, what incredible takes.
Those guys, they're just the best.
I think so. And if you think so, again, hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell so you get notifications when we post every single day here on OTB LSU.